Welcome to the eighth episode of Lyrically Speaking.
where we dissect songs and discover implied inferences made by artists, singers, and songwriters. We are your hosts,
Dyuti Agarwal.
and Kesar Behal, doing something a little different this time. But before that, we just want to say
Happy Pride Month!
so, this is a super unstructured, informal episode where we'll discuss controversies of the music industry.
So basically, a professional gossip session about the music industry.
The first thing on our agenda is the rise of sad girl music. It's a pretty popular concept. We just want to talk about the fact that, first of all, Olivia Rodrigo's album came out on the 12th of June. You might have noticed from our stories that we're super excited about that. We've been loving the songs. We recently posted our rankings as well.
Yeah,
But I do think they've changed a little bit. What do you think?
I definitely think so because from a first listen, you only understand so much and you only
Mm-hmm.
resonate with so much of the album and the emotions. But over time, as you keep binging it and you keep streaming it, you definitely pick out favorites.
For sure, yeah. I think Stupid Song and then Honeybee, as well
Mhm.
as Begged, or there's just many layers with these songs. I feel like at first, most of her songs and albums used to be about teenage petulance and more of like anger and frustration.
Yeah.
And now the emotions are just so layered, with every song portraying some sort of sadness and the feeling of being in love, which is perfect for the title.
Right. Also because we've been exposed to her as a singer once she released Driver's License, and she was a
Hmm.
teenager at that time. So we get to see how she's evolved from like teenager emotions, teenager experiences to being a full-grown adult. That means her perception of things, her opinions on things have obviously evolved as she's grown as a person.
Yeah, I get that.
Going back to the idea of sad girl music at this rise in interest, people liking music with a good beat but sad lyrics. For example, Maggots for Brains from Olivia's new album is a great example of the song. Same thing with As It Was by Harry Styles when it released. It's really sad lyrics on a really upbeat backing track. And that's like one kind of sad music that people enjoy. But on the other hand, there's obviously those songs that are emotional and sad to their core, with minor keys and piano and strings. In a way, it provides comfort, but also I feel like people tend to use it as an excuse to self-sabotage, just to pretend that they're using this as a mode to feel their feelings and
Hmm.
to explain how they feel, but also you don't really know how much of an effect it's having on you until you really switch to a different style of music. I think people need to be more careful with their song choices and how often they listen to a specific type of genre.
I agree. It's definitely self-sabotage. But I feel like for many people, they like being on that low so they can't go lower. It feels more comforting to know that you're at this low and no one can actively drag you lower. Okay, adding on to the sad girl music concept, we also want to discuss another artist, Daniel Caesar, who was my top artist last year. And I don't know how I feel about that because I'm not usually the type of person to listen to R&B and stuff like that, but got into it because some people recommended some songs and I started liking it. And I don't think I've had enough time to sit down and reflect on how it's affected me, but I feel like most of the lyrics are definitely reflective, reminiscent, and in a way sad, right?
Yes.
The beats, sure, they're fun, they're chill. When you actually do the whole process of staring out the window and listening to Daniel Caesar, it does affect you in the long run.
I also feel like it has a different effect on you specifically because of the way that the music is written and the way that's
Mhm.
presented to the public. I recently saw an interview where Olivia Rodrigo was talking about how it's your job as a music artist, as a public figure, to be addressing things the whole role of a music artist and a singer and a songwriter is that you're feeling things and you're expressing them and you're giving it to the public.
Yeah,
And I think the way that you do it heavily impacts the final result and the effect it inevitably has on the listener. So, Daniel Caesar's lyrics, I often find them really insightful and really spiritual.
yeah,
Same thing with Frank Ocean. Their lyrics, if you look at it, are very biblically aligned as well. And
for
I
sure.
think that adds another element of like spirituality into it. It
Mhm.
feels like a larger issue in a way, whereas if you had to compare it to Olivia's, it's more narrative, but it's also feels like a diary entry that she's made into a song.
It does, yeah.
Like Kesar said, Daniel Caesar is more like R&B. So the beats are pretty chill and they're really vibey, whereas
Mhm.
Olivia's feels more raw and emotional, or sometimes she'll make a good sad song with a happy beat on it. The intricacies of the instruments used, the music produced out of it, and the words that were used to describe this specific situation, even if it's the same situation, they both have different like takes on it and different ways to express it. And eventually that creates a different image in each person's mind.
Yeah, so definitely their genres are a bit different. And then I also want to address the fact that Daniel Caesar is sometimes known as like a breakup artist in a way.
Uh-huh. If I'm like being very, very honest, I feel like people listen to R&B not for the lyrics, but just for the feeling of the music and the beats.
Yeah,
Whereas, in my personal opinion, pop music feels more,
lyrically inclined.
it's
Hmm.
not like R&B isn't, but
Yeah,
it's not the
yeah,
first thing you look at when you're listening to R&B.
yeah.
Whereas with pop, the lyrics really play a huge, huge role. There's two types of pop songs in my head. You have songs with good lyrics and a good beat, or songs with good beat, but the lyrics don't make sense. And there's
Yeah,
different reasons why both get successful in a way. But if you're really talking about like, oh, I listen to R&B, you don't look at it as like, oh, this person is listening to like really personal songs and like lyrically inclined songs. Whereas if
yeah.
someone says, I listen to pop music, you automatically think like, oh, it's just always people venting about their feelings and like their breakups.
Mhm.
And I think that's something that we shouldn't be doing because each artist has their own way of expressing their emotions. Each person has their own way of interpreting that in relation to their life. So, sort of like assigning categories to type of music just seems wrong. And I think that goes against the whole idea of creative expression.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. But also, I feel like jazz has also become very performative, which is why people don't hate on it.
Yes.
Yeah, especially
I
with
like,
like those type of lyrics and music. I
yeah,
just feel like it's become so performative. Oh, going to a jazz bar with your friends and like I
yeah.
don't know the whole aesthetic on like social media
Because it
platforms.
feels like luxurious and you're like emitting that high end energy.
Yeah,
But also, I really don't think it should become a thing where like you're only listening to this music or you're acting like you're listening to this music.
yeah,
Just listen to what you feel like you really like rather than, oh, I'll get clout for listening to this.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And I feel like that obviously changes with your mood, what you want to listen to. And
Yeah,
sometimes you just want to listen to a song because you want to listen to it. It's not because you
yeah.
relate to it.
You've reached the end of Volume 1. For more like this, stay tuned for Volume 2.
Also, happy Men's Mental Health Awareness Month.